Shalom. This video is devoted to the topic investing in a love relationship. Today, the value of love is not what it used to be. The reason for this is that love is considered today to be free. Rather than to invest in a relationship of love, the young generation today, and even in my time, growing up in the 60s, we were not looking to invest in a relationship of love. We were just looking for free sex. The world has given permission for free sex, that is, through the use of condoms, birth control. There's the alternative to do abortions. But God didn't make it this way. It's against the will of God. God wants us to invest in a relationship and to build a relationship where there's love and there's sex. And the way to do this is through marriage. Using birth control, for the man using condoms, for the women using birth control pills, it's taking away from the opportunity to invest in a relationship of love. That is, to build a family. The Jewish people, more than any other people, consider the importance of family life. But not only Judaism, every religion is against sex, free sex, sex before marriage, promiscuity, trying to teach modesty to the children, that they should have in their minds as they are educated that they should wait to get married, to instill in girls the importance of virginity before marriage. The Jewish people are called the Virgin Israel. So important is it to teach and educate the children that they should invest in a relationship of love and not to look or free sex, not to seek to experience sex, to be patient, and to get married. There might be a purpose for birth control, but not to be used by singles. It's only going to take away from the building a relationship of love, which will lead to procreation and to build a family and to educate the children and to have a wife and a husband and to grow together as long as possible as you build your family and work to educate your children and to see your children get married and to see grandchildren. There are obstacles along the way to building a family and marriage. The Jewish Torah has in it divorce. Sometimes divorce is the best thing for the couple. But when their people get divorced and now they're alone, they are susceptible to the temptations of relationships that are not built upon the ethics of religion. Especially young people, because young people, the girls can get pregnant and they have responsibility not to get pregnant until they're married. So they shouldn't be faced with a test that is to do an abortion. Abortion may be acceptable in the first month or up to 3 months, but after that, the Torah does not accept abortion. It's considered like murder. It's not exactly murder, but maybe it is. Maybe in heaven, you might be judged when you go up into heaven in the afterlife. You might have to suffer and be judged that you killed for killing. When you do abortion, it might be considered killing. But that's left to your conscience of every young person to understand that God put the desire in a man and a woman for love for a purpose. It's not something only for pleasure, though there is pleasure in love. It's for procreation, and to try to make a family. Some people might be married and they weren't able to make a family. But free sex is the negative part of freedom. Freedom is a great thing. One of the greatest achievements and gifts of God is to find spiritual freedom. You might find it when you are out in the world and you meet a teacher of spiritual freedom. It could be called guru. And spiritual freedom is to know the mercy of God and to connect to the essence of the human being. Within him is the secret of the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. There was peace, and there was the presence of God, the light of God, the peace of God, infinite light, truth. It was everything there. Spiritual freedom is a gift. If you are lucky enough to meet that holy saint who is in the world with this gift to give you. At Mount Sinai, the Jewish people were given by Moses spiritual freedom. They were not only taken out of the land of Egypt when they were being slaves to Pharaoh. Moses was a prophet of truth, and he gave those that were merited spiritual freedom. They felt the peace of the Garden of Eden. They were healed from all 210 years of slavery. Life was very difficult in Egypt. And that moment when the Torah was given, God spoke, the heavens opened up, and the people received the light of the Garden of Eden, spiritual freedom. Even today, you might be lucky enough to meet this man who is traveling in the world. He could be coming from somewhere far away, like Laxmanjula, India, or from another place, remote place. And he will then heal you from all your troubles and worries, and you'll feel spiritual freedom. Not everyone needs to feel spiritual freedom, but some people need it. The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught, my teacher, Jewish teacher, Lubavitcher Rebbe taught that it may not be necessary to know spiritual freedom, but people can devote themselves towards building the kingship of God on earth through the Torah, through Jewish law, devote themselves to their religion, which includes in it marriage, procreation, building a family, investing in love. It includes in it sex, the delight of sex. When you're married and you're you and your wife are living together and sleeping in the same room, and as your children grow up, your children are born, one child, each child receives circumcision, and you try the best to educate all the children. They become 13, they're called bar mitzvah, where they are now beginning life as a man, and with the intention to marry and also build a family. In the way of Judaism, there is no spiritual freedom. Spiritual freedom is out in the world, but not in the Orthodox world. Also by Christianity and Islam, spiritual freedom is out in the world. It's not in the Orthodox world. Because in the Orthodox world, already begins the importance of investing in a relationship of love without having to have experienced spiritual freedom. Even if you are out there in that ashram in India, like I was once in that ashram in India, and the guru, he was a special person who had achieved spiritual freedom, and his goal in life was to bring spiritual freedom, that is the universal faith, to the world. But you could have spiritual freedom and experience spiritual freedom, that is in meditation and breath, in your breath, and talk to God in your own words, chant a special prayer, but you still have a body. And when you're young, the body is burning. It wants love. Torah teaches that the body of a man is not complete without the woman. They're one unit, male and female. The bodies are one unit. The souls are complete, but the bodies are not complete. And that is why Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they were complete. They were complete. They had spiritual freedom. But there's another purpose in life. That is the purpose of procreation. Bringing God's light into the world through family and through religion. The universal faith, which is being revealed today, which is the revelation of God and the resurrection of the prophets, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, and which is the revelation of Adam before the sin. It's not to replace the importance of religion. Therefore, it was taught by the Prophet Baha'i, who lived in Accra during the Ottoman Empire, that he saw that there is a connection between all these three religions. They all have something within them which is missing in the other religion. Judaism learns the Torah. The Torah is the numerical value of 611. But the perfection of the Torah is 613. There's two missing. In just Torah and religion alone, without the universal faith. The universal faith adds to religion that aspect of spiritual freedom and unity of God, unity of opposites, spiritual opposites, male and female, which is love and fear. There's love of God and there's fear of God. They're both united in heaven. But when a person is born, and he's born through a paternal parents, father and mother, his first education is in the fear of God. He has to know that God is the Almighty, and he has to know that he has an obligation, that there is good and evil. And for the Jewish people, there is the Torah. So the children receive the Torah. They don't really know the secrets of the Torah. It's not important to them, especially in the beginning of their lives, when they are young, in the young ages, childhood, teenager. They get married, make a family. Most of life is doing the works of God. The world was created according to the Torah, 6 days it was created, and the seventh day God rested. First comes work, to work and to do and to learn the scriptures before you can come to that spiritual revelation, which is called Sabbath, Shabbat, which includes in it the unity of God, that unity of God which was revealed to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai. It's a hidden secret, and it's not hidden that it should never be revealed. And today it's being revealed through the universal faith. But nevertheless, the universal faith needs also people to follow the instructions of God, how to build a life, and there's no such thing as free sex. Sex is for the sake of procreation. It should be built, a relationship, man and woman should be built and sanctified, through marriage. The holy men of Israel, they're not interested in receiving gifts. Even the gift of spiritual freedom is not as important to them as the learning of the Torah. And the learning of the Torah is day and night. It doesn't have a place for rest. But not everyone is on the level of the Torah scholars, which is Zohar, the Book of Splendor, which came into Judaism 700 years ago. It gives tremendous respect to Torah scholars, that they do not want spiritual freedom. They're devoted to religion. And that is number one to them. That comes before the secrets of the Torah. But not everyone is is brought into the world to be Talmud Chacham, Torah scholar, rabbi, judge, Jewish judge. Some people need the universal faith. They need spiritual freedom. But they also need religion. So they're part of Orthodox religion. But they're not the leaders of Orthodox religion. The leaders of Orthodox religion are the ones that have given up spiritual freedom for teaching Torah, teaching religion, guiding children in life, rejecting free sex and living righteously and following what God wants from us to build the kingship of God on earth. So, it's not too late. We're living in a world where there's freedom. And the world of freedom is not punishing people for doing abortions. They're providing for young people condoms and also birth control pills for girls. There's free choice today. This is the way it is. But there's also free choice to give respect to the generations of the past. The generation which is called the Old Age, Old Testament, following the morals and ethics of Mount Sinai, whether it is as a Jew, as a Christian, or as an Islam. Even in India, I remember that when I was in that ashram and I went out to the river to bathe and I was not dressed properly, there were those people that threw stones at me. Because it's also in the Hindu culture, the importance of modesty, marriage. It's universal. The Torah is universal. It's universal to understand that we have an obligation in life, not only to know God, but we have to also make for God a kingship, a dwelling place in this world through having families and raising our children in the way of the ethics and morals and righteousness of the Holy Torah. God has given everyone free choice today, but you can choose life, which is the life of righteousness, or you can and if you choose the other side, you'll end up without having invested in love, and you'll end up without having built that relationship that you are meant to build with your second side. You'll be alone. You'll be 50, 60 alone. God told Adam in the Garden of Eden, it's not good for a man to be alone. And he was connected to God in the highest way. Nevertheless, God told him, said it's not good to be for him to be alone. So his wife, she wanted to have a family, and through her beauty, she seduced him to make love, and was born from them the first two children, Cain and Abel, and then was born in the world 7 billion people today. Let's connect with the past, but today we have to also connect to spiritual freedom. God should give you a good day